Good morning, everybody. Happy Monday, and we've got some Seattle Mariners stuff to talk about. It's been another 10 games since our last check-in. We are now 70 games deep into the season. I actually went to yesterday's game, the Father's Day game, got to watch a win. It was pretty sweet, pretty good. And I got to see us get back to 500, 35, and 35. So, played better over the last 10 games, won a couple series, did some positive things, but still don't really know what this team is, and still don't know if they have the kind of run in them that it's going to take to get to the playoffs at this point, because, like I said in my last video, the American League is really, really difficult this year. And, like, if you want to talk about getting to 90 wins, I don't even know if that's going to be enough. If you're saying, okay, we got to do X, Y, and Z to get to 90 wins this year, I'm going to wonder if 90 wins does it. I'm going to wonder if 92 wins does it. Hopefully, some of these teams fade a little bit. Like obviously the AL West is still pretty heavy um, at the top, but you've got like the AL East. They're full of teams that are at least competitive, and at worst, at best, they're maybe the best teams in the league. So I don't know. I don't know what we are really. Like, there's a lot of things going into the current makeup of the 2023 Seattle Mariners. They got really good starting pitchers, but we have seen them get knocked around a little bit in the last few weeks to where it doesn't feel like a completely bulletproof rotation anymore. We've had some injuries, and we've actually survived the injuries really well because we've gotten good mileage out of the guys that we've had to call up, like Miller, like Wu. But at the same time, it doesn't feel like a slam dunk anymore that we're going to get great effort from all of our pitchers every single night. Like, even Logan Gilbert had the really bad start against, I think it was the Angels. The defense is good. Defense is really good, but they make one mistake and they get punished for it. Like that game against the Angels where JP had the error, and then very next at bat, Otani's hitting a home run, and that ends up playing a big factor in the final result of that game. The bats, some of these guys are actually starting to hit. Like, you got to give it up to Teoscar, to France. Julio's playing better. Some of these guys are hitting well right now. But overall, we still have these games where you go the entire final two-thirds of the game without recording a single hit, like against the White Sox on Saturday. And these games are you just leave 15 runners on base. So I don't know what we are. Like, what is this team going to be able to hang their hat on to go on the kind of run that they're going to need to get to? I mean, for the sake of argument, let's just say 90 wins right now. If the Mariners get to 90 wins this year and they don't make the playoffs, then I can only get so upset at them, right? That's not their fault. They're just in a really good league, and that would just be bad luck. If the team gets to 90 wins this year, given that they struck out on, I'd say, at least three of their four major offseason acquisitions, that's probably something we're just going to have to tip our cap to, right? Like, if we get to 90 wins with Wong being a complete, you can't even really call him a zero right now. He's not giving you anything. Like, it felt like this heroic Herculean effort for him to get the bunt single at the game yesterday that I went to. So you're not getting anything from him. AJ Pollock has continued to just not really give you anything, even the small use case you were hoping for, just nothing. And the fact that you're still a 500 team, and the fact that, I mean, okay, hypothetically you get to 90 wins, and then you say, okay, we screwed up the Wong thing, we screwed up the Pollock thing, we got two guys who didn't really give us anything, and if we still get to 90 wins, I think you got to take that. And I could see that swing. I could see things swinging that way. Admittedly, like, you take a look at where the lineup is right now, you are starting to see the cream rise to the top here. You've got France, who has been hitting really well lately. Teoscar's warmed up. He's actually playing really well in the last couple of weeks. Julio's done a pretty good job warming up. He's starting to normalize again. Kelnick's been slumping lately, but that was kind of always going to happen. This is his first year in the major leagues where he's actually playing well. It was never going to be like a day one to end of season type run for him. He was always going to have low points, so I'm not really worried about that. Overall, he's still been our best batter. And Crawford, it's never going to be anything that blows you away, but it's going to be effective. It's going to be good enough. And overall, you're going to feel like, hey, J.P. Crawford, is he the best leadoff hitter in the league? No. Is he the best shortstop in the league? No. But he does both of those jobs well. He does both of those jobs well enough to where you're like, it's a net positive to have JP on our team right now. Cal's had a couple of hits today, actually, at the game, and he's been playing fine overall. Not so much behind the plate, but in terms of taking his at-bats, I think he's doing okay. And you can start to kind of see a core of guys who you can at least count on, because obviously the Wong misfire has been kind of offset by Caballero, who is pretty much the everyday second baseman at this point. And that's obviously he has already gone through some pretty cold stretches, has Caballero, but he is providing a credibility in this offense that I think is good enough for this team to roll with going forward. He frustrates opposing pitchers. He's even got a little bit of power, which I wasn't expecting at all. He's got good speed. It feels at least somewhat credible. I don't know if he's going to be able to keep up his Ops Plus, which is right now 116, but I believe he could keep it up above 100 this year. I believe that he could at least do that. And on a team like this, that's going to help a lot. So it's at the very least a full lineup of credible guys outside of the, I guess, the DH spot, because Mike Ford is obviously kind of a... I don't know. Mike Ford, he's kind of fun to have around. He's done some nice things so far, but I think we all know it's not really going to last. So it's workable, right? Like Suarez is the one guy in that collection of guys. If you go JP, France, Julio, Kelnick, Teoscar, Cal, Suarez, Caballero, and Ford, you've obviously got the Ford spot that's a little bit of a black hole, and Suarez isn't playing well right now at all, he's not hitting well at all, but it feels like a real MLB lineup at the least. And while these guys are still striking out way too much, like we've got a bunch of guys who lead the league or are right near the league lead in strikeouts. And that's really frustrating for sure. And it feels like there's got to be a holistic approach with this team's hitting that is just wrong. Because how could 4 guys on one team be among the league leaders in strikeouts without there being some kind of overarching problem with the way the team is currently approaching baseball? But it's at the very least a lineup that is not going to... It's kind of an all or nothing lineup, but they're on average going to produce. So I can kind of see that coming together. It's not going to be great. It's going to have bad games. It's not really going to have any depth. Like, you're going to be looking at, like, bringing A.J. Pollock off the bench every now and then, and you're going to hope that he figures it out. But at this point, it's tough for me to buy it. Like, he's not... even in the narrow role we were hoping he could fill this year, he's just not really giving us anything. But it's there. Like, the opportunity to make that run is on the table. And I guess with all the misfires, that's all you can ask for. So that's the lineup, and obviously that's always going to be the main thing with this team right now. Like, the starting rotation, it's not amazing right now. I don't think we feel great about anything right now. And we need to figure out what's going on with Marco. Is he going to come back anytime soon? What's he going to be when he comes back? But it's still a rotation that I would feel pretty good about taking into battle with me compared to pretty much every other rotation in Major League Baseball. I know Gilbert just had the really bad start that drug his season down, but he's not playing badly, and he's not a bad pitcher. Miller has been kind of a revelation here. He had the one, I think the one really bad start, and other than that, he's been amazing. The bullpen, obviously, you have little hiccups like blowing the save against the White Sox, which hurt. Would have felt so much better going into this next week with a sweep of a bad White Sox team. But overall, there's still a bullpen that has proven to be one of the best in the league. And I can't sit here and say they're leaving anything. They're leaving anything on the table, really. Like you're gonna blow saves every now and then. You're not gonna be perfect. And given the situations we're putting our bullpen into with our inconsistent offense, there are gonna be blown games here and there just because you're not putting teams away with your scoring the way you could. Like that White Sox game where we didn't get a hit in the last 6 innings. But these things don't feel completely bulletproof the way that at one time they may have. Like Kirby actually had a really rough start as well recently, and that brought his season down, although overall still really good. Um, it's still like I'll still go to war with these guys, like I said. I'm continually impressed with the way this team can suffer injuries to their pitchers. Like Gott has been out for a while. Murphy's been in and out. Haven't gotten a ton out of him lately, and the bullpen continues to chug along effectively. We've even seen some better stuff from Matt Brash lately, which is awesome because he's got the nastiest stuff in the pen outside of Munoz. But is it going to be enough? Like you can see all these pieces, and they add up to a team that could be really good, right? Uh, all or nothing inconsistent, but nevertheless reasonably effective offense, really good rotation, really good bullpen, really good defense. Put it all together, you should have something, but I don't know if we do. But this next 10-game stretch will tell us a lot, and we'll see where we stand in a week and a half. But yeah, 500 after 70 games, and still don't really know what we are. All right, catch you guys later. Go Mariners. Let's see what happens.